Unearthed from a dusty thrift store shelf under the vague label of housewares, this wooden curiosity feels like a prop from an old secret society. It features a peculiar box with a slanted top, pierced by a rope nearly 2 feet long. At each end of the rope, there are different wooden blocks, one with a strange divot, the other smaller, both with carefully drilled holes. A second, entirely separate piece consists of 2 identical blocks and a cube, looped together in a seemingly impossible knot. It's a collection of clues with no clear crime. What forgotten household function did this strange device perform? This is not a tool, but a test of wit. What you are holding is a classic wooden brain teaser puzzle, a relic from an era before digital distractions. The entire purpose of this object is to challenge your mind. The goal is to figure out the correct sequence of moves to completely free the rope and its blocks from the main box, or to disentangle the second piece. Every hole, divot, and length of rope is a meticulously designed part of the solution. These puzzles were once a popular form of entertainment, but were largely replaced by the convenience of video games and mass-produced plastic toys, leaving these handcrafted tests of patience and logic to become dusty enigmas. Found tangled in a bag of old jewelry, these curious artifacts whisper tales from another time. They are crafted from weathered leather, bearing a stamped, painted design that has faded with age. A series of small metal hooks lines the edges, ready to lace up and fasten. But around what? Someone cared for these enough to replace the old strings, yet their purpose remains a mystery. They seem too ornate for a simple tool, and too specific for a common bracelet. What forgotten fashion did these unique accessories serve? What you have discovered are decorative leather hair braid cuffs, a charming relic of mid-20th century style. Popular during the folk and hippie movements, these would be wrapped securely around the end of a hair braid. The laces were pulled tight and the hooks would interlock, creating a beautiful and functional adornment that kept the braid from coming undone. This style vanished almost completely with the rise of modern, mass-produced accessories. The simple, disposable plastic hair tie offered speed and convenience, rendering these handcrafted, personal pieces of artistry obsolete. You're holding a small piece of a more deliberate and expressive era. Pulled from the dusty silence of a forgotten attic, this homemade wooden rack tells a fragmented story. Its 2 rows of precisely drilled holes suggest a specific purpose, yet its crude construction feels personal, almost secretive. The former tenants left it behind, a wooden ghost from their past. One might guess it was for fishing rods, but the spacing feels all wrong, too compact. This wasn't for the great outdoors. What forgotten game was played in the shadows, requiring this peculiar stand? What you have discovered is a classic homemade pool stick rack, a staple of basement game rooms from a bygone era. The design is simple but ingenious. The bottom row of holes cradles the butt of the cue, while the upper row secures the slender shaft, preventing it from warping. While modern racks are often polished, store-bought affairs, this wooden relic speaks to a time of do-it-yourself craftsmanship. It vanished not because it was a poor design, but because the convenience of mass-produced goods replaced the pride of a handcrafted hobby. Pulled from the dusty shelves of a thrift store, this crimson cylinder presents a curious puzzle. It measures 24 inches long by 2 inches in diameter, capped at both ends with weathered rubber. Its transparent red body is pierced by a series of small, precisely drilled holes along its length, with a single larger opening at one end. Found with it was a strange string of beads, its connection to the tube a complete mystery. It was mistaken for a simple poster holder, but the details suggest a far more specific function. What purpose did this peculiar crimson tube truly serve? What you're holding is a surprisingly modern piece of design, a horizontal hummingbird feeder. The string of beads is part of a bungee system that holds the end caps in place and allows the tube to be hung perfectly level. That brilliant red color is no accident. It's designed to attract hummingbirds, and those tiny holes are individual feeding ports for them to drink nectar. Unlike traditional vertical feeders, this minimalist design prevents leaks and allows multiple birds to feed at once, a clever solution that is often mistaken for simple plastic tubing by the untrained eye. Uncovered from the depths of a vintage sewing kit, we find this peculiar artifact. 2 small, hard plastic caps, about 2.5 centimeters in height, are rendered in a striking scarlet and white. They are bound together by a thin elastic wire, stretched taut over a distance of roughly 30 centimeters. A single cryptic inscription is found on each cap: 3 sheaths. They feel too specific to be a simple toy, too deliberate for a mere decoration. What secret did these twin objects guard in the world of needle and thread? What you are holding is a thoughtful piece of crafting history: point protectors for double-pointed knitting needles. The caps were placed on the ends of the needles used for knitting socks or sleeves, and the elastic cord pulled them taut. This simple tension did two things brilliantly. It prevented delicate stitches from slipping off and kept the entire project neatly bundled together. This particular set, from the famous French mail-order company 3 Sheaths, represents a complete system. It has been largely replaced by cheaper single silicone caps, a forgotten convenience from a time when even the smallest tools were designed with meticulous care. This strange, hollow cylinder was unearthed from the back of a dusty shed. It stands about 4 inches tall, with a diameter of 6 inches, crafted from a simple black plastic. Inside, a removable core of stark white styrofoam fits perfectly, creating a sealed chamber. It's feather-light, yet the design feels deliberate, almost like a piece of specialized equipment meant to contain or protect something fragile. What secret was this unassuming object designed to guard? What you are holding is a classic outdoor faucet cover, a humble guardian against the winter frost. This simple device saved countless homeowners from the disaster of a burst pipe. The styrofoam core traps a pocket of air around the spigot, using the principles of insulation to keep the residual water in the metal from freezing, expanding, and cracking the plumbing. While effective, these covers are a relic of older homes. Modern construction now favors frost-free spigots with internal shutoff valves, making this external shield a clever but increasingly obsolete piece of seasonal preparedness. Unearthed from the dusty depths of a long-forgotten drawer, we have this small, dense piece of metal. It measures just 3.5 centimeters long, but feels substantial in the hand, weighing around 30 to 50 grams, and crafted from what appears to be solid brass. It's machined with a curious precision, resembling a miniature piston or a mechanical plunger from some forgotten device. It clearly served a specific critical function, yet its home is a complete mystery. What intricate machine relied on this tiny, silent part to do its job? What you are holding is a crucial, yet often unseen component: the pusher from an automotive thermostat. This tiny piston is the key to your car's cooling system. It sits inside a chamber filled with a special wax that expands dramatically when heated. As the engine warms up, the expanding wax forces this very pusher outward, opening a valve and allowing coolant to flow to the radiator, preventing overheating. While this technology is still vital today, these individual parts have become ghosts in the machine. Modern thermostats are typically replaced as a single sealed unit, a casualty of the shift away from serviceable parts to disposable assemblies. Sent as a mysterious gift from a high-end brand, this object feels like something out of a futuristic spy kit. It's a smooth, palm-sized plastic disc, cool to the touch, with a subtle divot on its face. On the back, an adjustable black strap suggests it's meant to be worn, but the odd button on the end doesn't seem to connect to anything at all. Is this some kind of strange communication device or a piece of a puzzle we're missing? What you're holding is not a secret agent's gadget, but a tool for a different kind of artist. This is a wrist-worn cosmetic mixing palette, a clever solution for the modern age. You strap it to the back of your hand, and the divoted plate becomes a clean, convenient surface to blend skincare serums, foundations, or moisturizers. For decades, people simply used the back of their hand, an unsanitary and often wasteful method. This simple device replaces that messy habit with a touch of professional precision, turning a daily routine into a clean, controlled ritual. This palm-sized metal cone has been a silent paperweight on a desk for years, a relic with no known origin. It's unreasonably heavy for its size, a dense, solid weight reminiscent of a nearly full 12-ounce bottle of hot sauce. The base is curiously concave, and the entire object feels like it was machined for a single important purpose. What forgotten principle of science does this simple, heavy cone serve? What you are holding is a classic plumb bob, a masterpiece of minimalist engineering. This is a precision instrument that uses the immutable pull of gravity to find a perfect vertical line. A string, now long gone, would have attached to the top, allowing the heavy, pointed cone to hang perfectly straight, a silent guide for carpenters and masons for thousands of years. From the construction of the Great Pyramids to the skyscrapers of the early 20th century, this tool ensured everything was true. Today, its elegant simplicity has been largely overshadowed by the instant, unwavering beam of the laser level, replacing a timeless tool with a flash of modern light. Pulled from the dusty corner of a forgotten workshop, this heavy contraption hums with a silent history. It weighs a solid 10 pounds with a base about 8 inches across. A thick power cord snakes into a heavy transformer, leading to a strange, silvery glass bulb with wires emerging from both ends. There are even exposed, unhooked terminals, hinting at functions lost to time. It feels like a relic from the dawn of the electrical age, a dangerous and misunderstood machine. What secret purpose did this serve? What you have discovered is a piece of automotive history, a Tungar bulb battery charger, first patented by General Electric around 1916. That silvery bulb is the heart of the machine. It's a half-wave rectifier filled with argon gas. It took the alternating current from a home's wall socket and converted it into the direct current needed to charge the primitive batteries of early automobiles and radios. The technology, however, was a dead end. These bulbs were inefficient, fragile, and produced a lot of heat. They were made completely obsolete by the invention of smaller, more reliable, and far safer solid-state selenium and silicon rectifiers in the mid-20th century, a glowing artifact from an era before the silent magic of the microchip. Pulled from a box of forgotten kitchenware, we have this strange artifact. It's an 8.5 by 8.5 inch plastic platform, surprisingly lightweight, with a curious concave surface. Tethered to its center by a thin wire is a heavy polished metal ball, a captive pendulum with no apparent purpose. It feels like a piece from a forgotten board game, or perhaps a peculiar physics demonstration from a mid-century classroom. What purpose could this strange tabletop contraption possibly serve? What you are holding is a classic mid-century napkin holder, a clever solution for outdoor dining. Its function was simple but effective. You'd place a stack of paper napkins in the concave base, and the weighted ball on its wire would rest on top, providing just enough pressure to keep them from blowing away in a summer breeze. Popular in the 1960s and 70s, these holders were a staple of backyard barbecues. They became obsolete as design trends shifted towards more minimalist aesthetics, and heavier, more decorative napkin weights or enclosed dispensers took their place, leaving this charmingly practical gadget as a relic of a bygone era of outdoor entertaining. It appeared on a workbench, a flash of bright orange against a backdrop of worn wood and steel. This small plastic plug seems designed for a single purpose: to create a perfect seal, guaranteed by the stark black O-ring circling its base. The color is a riddle in itself, too vibrant for a forgotten relic, suggesting a connection to modern equipment, perhaps a lawn sprinkler or a piece of safety gear. Yet, it matches none of them. What tiny but critical system does this brightly colored sentinel belong to? What you have discovered is the stopper for an anti-siphon yard hydrant, a small but essential piece of modern plumbing. Its job is brilliantly simple. When the hydrant is on, water pressure pushes the plug into place, sealing a drain hole. When you shut the water off, the pressure drops, and the plug allows the pipe to fully drain, preventing the catastrophic damage of freezing and bursting in the winter. These stoppers are the unsung heroes of outdoor plumbing, frequently misplaced during maintenance, their bright color a deliberate design choice to prevent this tiny, crucial component from being lost to the lawn. They appear without a sound, like a silent, strange dustfall. Tiny, bluish spheres, sometimes scattered individually, other times huddled together in cryptic clumps. You vacuum them up, convinced the house is clean, only for them to reappear days later, a persistent, unsettling mystery. They have the look of eggs, something alien and unnatural that has found its way inside the walls. Are these the seeds of some unknown infestation waiting to hatch? What you have discovered is not a biological threat, but a piece of your home's hidden anatomy. These are beads from blown-in cavity wall insulation. In an effort to improve thermal efficiency, millions of these tiny polystyrene spheres are pumped into the empty space between a home's inner and outer walls, creating a thermal blanket. The reason they keep appearing is simple, yet unnerving. Your house has a breach. A tiny crack, a poorly sealed outlet, or a gap around a pipe is all it takes for these lightweight beads to escape their hidden world and spill into yours. A constant reminder of the unseen architecture that surrounds you. Pulled from the quiet darkness of a kitchen cabinet, this peculiar object feels like a relic from a future that never was. A smooth, heavy, egg-like form, feeling like cool ceramic, sits cradled inside a simple blue plastic frame. There are no buttons, no markings, no clues to its function. It just sits there, a silent, ovoid enigma left behind by the previous tenants. What purpose could this peculiar device possibly serve? What you have discovered is a quiet guardian against damp and decay. This is a dehumidifying, desiccant egg. The seemingly simple ceramic shell is filled with silica gel crystals, a powerful material that passively draws moisture from the air, trapping it inside to protect your cabinets from mold and musty odors. Unlike noisy electric dehumidifiers or disposable plastic packets, this egg is endlessly reusable. Once saturated, a short time in an oven bakes the moisture out, restoring it to full strength. A clever, silent piece of household technology from a time before everything became disposable. Unearthed from a cluttered workbench in a home straight out of the 1950s, this curious artifact feels both simple and specific. It's a 4-inch steel rod, cold to the touch, capped by a hard plastic ball that refuses to budge. It's not a handle, it's not a tool, it's a component, a missing piece to a puzzle hidden just out of sight. What everyday task required such a specific piece of engineering? What you have discovered is the humble bathroom sink lift rod, the unseen hero of mid-century plumbing. This rod connects the pull knob behind the faucet to the drain stopper below. That non-removable ball is the key. It creates a pivot point inside the drain pipe, allowing the rod to move the stopper up and down without letting water leak out. While still in use, these sturdy separate steel rods have largely been replaced by cheaper, all-in-one plastic assemblies or the modern pop-up drains that operate with a simple press, making this robust design a quiet relic from an era when things were built to be serviced, not just replaced. Pulled from a dusty box of forgotten instruments, this cold, stainless steel rod feels both precise and vaguely menacing. It's a long piece of metal with 2 wickedly sharp points at one end. A small knob on the side allows a central piece to retract and extend, locking firmly into place with a satisfying click. It was clearly designed to slide into something larger, a missing piece of a much bigger puzzle. What precise, almost surgical task was this strange instrument designed for? What you have discovered is a fascinating piece of medical history, a tibial cutting jig used by orthopedic surgeons. This isn't a workshop tool, but a guide for reshaping the human body. During a knee replacement, the 2 sharp points are secured directly into the tibia bone. After careful alignment and depth measurement, the flat plate acts as a perfect guide for the surgeon's saw, ensuring a precise cut. This is an older, more open style of jig. Many modern versions now feature a captured slot for the saw blade, offering less freedom but more standardization. It's a relic from an era when a surgeon's steady hand was guided by elegant, reusable steel. Found jumbled in a $5 mystery bag, these objects feel like more than just leftover junk. Each one is a solid pound of black metal, cold and heavy in the hand, measuring about 5 by 3 inches. A curious hook juts out, designed to bear some unknown weight. The most puzzling detail is the smooth, cloth-like material glued to the base, which, when peeled away, reveals 2 hidden screws and the cryptic letters HYX. What forgotten duty did these strange, heavy-duty hooks perform? What you have discovered are classic Christmas stocking holders, guardians of a cherished holiday tradition. Their brilliance lies in their weight. Placed on a fireplace mantle, Their sheer mass is all that's needed to securely anchor a heavy, gift-filled stocking, no nails or fasteners required. The soft material on the bottom was simply there to protect the mantle's surface from scratches. While stocking holders are still common, these solid, weighty metal versions are a relic from a time before flimsy plastics. They were built not just for one season, but to become a family heirloom, a silent part of holiday memories for generations. A glint of metal in a church parking lot, a tiny stumble, revealing a miniature artifact. This aluminum disc, barely 2 centimeters across, is impossibly light. Embossed on its face is the ghost of a sailboat, forever navigating an unseen ocean. The underside holds its own secret, a strange brassy color, but with no threads, no sign of how it attached. It was found clean, with no residue, almost as if it were brand new, yet it feels like a dispatch from another time. What precious cargo did this tiny, intricate cap once protect? What you have discovered is a small, sweet piece of Japanese history. This is the lid from a tin of Sakuma's Drops, a famous fruit candy made by Sakuma Confectionery since 1908. This simple press-on lid sealed a pocket-sized tin of hard candies that became an icon, immortalized in the poignant Studio Ghibli film, Grave of the Fireflies. For over a century, these tins were a common sight. But in a sudden turn of history, the company ceased operations in early 2023, ending 114 years of production. This little cap is no longer just a candy lid, it's now a relic of a beloved brand that has vanished from the world. Found tucked inside a box of hypoallergenic earrings, this discovery is a true puzzle. It's a small, white sheath, measuring just over 2.5 inches long, with a powerful, sterile smell of latex, like an uninflated balloon. It seems far too tight, and isn't very stretchy, which only deepens the mystery of its inclusion with a set of delicate jewelry. What strange, specific purpose could this item possibly have? What you are holding is a finger cot, a single-digit glove designed for isolated protection. Its purpose is twofold. It can keep a bandage on a finger clean and dry, or, in this specific case, it allows you to handle sterile items like new earrings without transferring fingerprints or skin oils onto the posts. While still used in niche fields like watchmaking and electronics assembly, the rise of cheap, fully disposable nitrile and latex gloves made the single-finger solution feel obsolete for most applications. It's a relic from an era of more precise, less wasteful protection. It appears like a scar on an otherwise flawless surface, a dark, almost inky void that interrupts the warm, swirling grain of this console table. It doesn't feel like a chip or a burn. It's smooth, as if it has always been there. A silent witness embedded in the wood itself. A perfect piece of furniture, marred by this one inexplicable blemish. What secret is this shadow in the wood hiding? What you are looking at is not damage, but a signature from the tree itself. This is a wood knot, the preserved history of where a branch once grew from the main trunk. For centuries, these marks were celebrated as unique character, but the modern pursuit of perfection changed everything. Mass production demanded uniformity, and knots were branded as flaws. Manufacturers began using veneers or selecting only clear-grade lumber to create sterile, identical surfaces. We traded the authentic story of the wood for a clean but soulless look. This isn't an imperfection. It's a relic of character in a world that forgot how to appreciate it. Pulled from the dusty shelf of an entryway cupboard, this small, precisely machined artifact has baffled its owners for years. It's a curious little bracket, all cool metal and stark angles. A small L-shaped platform slides along its track when the central knob is loosened, suggesting it's designed to hold something with exacting precision. It feels less like a common household gadget and more like a piece of specialized equipment, left behind and forgotten. What critical task did this little machine perform? What you have is a modern sentinel of the digital age, a graphics card, SAG, support bracket. As video cards grew into monstrously powerful and heavy components in the 2010s, their own weight began to bend them, threatening to snap the delicate connections on the computer's motherboard. This simple device is an elegant solution. It acts like a tiny adjustable jack stand, with the L-shaped platform positioned perfectly under the corner of the sagging card to keep it level. It's not a relic of a bygone era. but a necessary invention born from the relentless race for computing power, a silent guardian against the very technology it was built to support. Unearthed from the velvet-lined shadows of a forgotten jewelry box, this heavy silver artifact feels substantial in the hand, weighing in at nearly 2 ounces. It measures just 3.5 inches long, a canvas of intricate metalwork cradling a single, vivid eye of turquoise. Its edges are clean, suggesting it was once part of a larger assembly, a single chapter from a longer story. Now orphaned, it sits alone. What grand design was this beautiful fragment originally a part of? What you are holding is a lost segment from a traditional southwestern concho belt. Each one of these ornate silver discs, called a concho, was handcrafted and strung onto a leather strap to create a stunning piece of wearable art, a symbol of status and heritage among Navajo and other southwestern artisans. This single piece was likely kept for its sentimental value after the rest of the belt was damaged, sold, or lost to time. It's a survivor, a beautiful orphan from a larger family of silver and stone, a testament to a craft where every single component was a masterpiece in itself. Submerged in the quiet waters of a bathtub in a traditional Kyoto townhouse, this stark white fitting presents a modern puzzle. It sits too low to be an overflow drain, a theory quickly debunked when the tub is filled to the brim with no effect. The high-tech Rene controller on the wall offers no obvious clues. Its symbols a silent mystery that even translation apps can't decipher. It looks like a portal, or perhaps a jet, but performs neither function. What is the secret purpose of this strange device? What you have discovered is a key component of a sophisticated Japanese automatic bath system, the recirculation intake. Its genius lies in what it prevents, the slow, disappointing chill of a cooling bath. Instead of constantly adding more hot water, this system quietly pulls bathwater through the intake, sends it to the external Rene heater, and returns it perfectly hot. This technology allows for the cultural practice of a long, leisurely soak at a consistent temperature. It represents a different philosophy of bathing, one that prioritizes sustained comfort over the simple function of getting clean, a luxury feature largely absent in Western plumbing. This tiny, light gray object appeared on the floor one day, a piece of plastic driftwood on a sea of carpet. It measures just 1.6 centimeters tall and a mere 1.5 millimeters thick. One side is precisely ribbed, designed for grip, while the other is perfectly smooth, marked only by the number 12, pressed into a circle. It feels like a component, a part of a larger whole, yet it shows no sign of being broken. It's a perfectly formed, yet utterly anonymous piece of manufacturing. What forgotten machine shed this tiny, numbered component? What you are holding is a classic keyboard foot, the small flip-out tab from the underside of a computer keyboard. For decades, these tiny props were the unsung heroes of office ergonomics, tilting keyboards to a more comfortable angle for typing. The ribbed side grips the desk, while the smooth side tucks away. Their downfall is their greatest weakness. They are notoriously fragile. Made of cheap plastic and attached by a thin hinge, they are often the first part of a keyboard to snap off, becoming orphaned pieces of plastic whose purpose is immediately forgotten. It's a relic born not from obsolescence, but from being the most disposable part of an already disposable piece of technology. Pulled from a precarious spot in the French countryside, this strange artifact seems to defy logic. It's a simple wooden frame, lightweight and nearly 5 feet long, but its centerpiece is a complete mystery, a single, naked light bulb socket. It's too flimsy to be a tool, too awkward to be a lamp. It's a ghost of an invention, a wooden skeleton with an electric heart. What possible purpose could a single hot bulb serve in the middle of a frame like this? What you have discovered is an electric bed warmer, a relic from the era just before modern electric blankets. This was a clever, if slightly dangerous, piece of early 20th century comfort. The wooden frame, sometimes called a bed cage, was designed to hold the blankets up, creating a small tent. Inside, the heat from the incandescent bulb would radiate, slowly warming the cold sheets before bedtime. This design replaced the far older method of using metal pans filled with hot coals. It was a brilliant, transitional piece of technology, but it was quickly made obsolete by the invention of safer, more efficient heating pads, consigning this fire hazard in waiting to history. Unearthed from the cluttered aisles of a local Goodwill, this wooden object defies simple description. It sits low to the ground, barely 1 foot tall and less than a foot wide, its frame slender and unassuming. But its back stretches impossibly high, a single tall post that makes the entire piece seem oddly out of proportion. It's too small for an adult, too strange for a child's chair. What was the secret purpose of this peculiar piece of furniture? What you have discovered is a classic kitchen step stool, sometimes called a pantry stool. That impossibly tall back isn't a back at all, it's a handle. This ingenious design allowed a person to grab and place the stool with one hand without ever bending over to quickly reach a high shelf or cabinet. It was the perfect, unobtrusive helper for a quick task. In an era of cheap, foldable plastic and aluminum ladders, this sturdy, single-purpose wooden tool has become a relic. It speaks of a time when everyday items were thoughtfully designed for convenience and crafted to be a permanent part of the home. This 5-inch blade of gleaming metal was discovered hiding inside the box of a brand new pasta roller, an undocumented part with no place on the machine. It's thin, surprisingly sharp, and feels like it should have a purpose, yet the instructions remain eerily silent. It's an orphaned component, a phantom piece of a familiar kitchen puzzle. What secret role was this phantom part meant to play? What you have discovered is a classic case of form over function, a part known as a pasta maker fender or roller guard. Its only job was to provide a cosmetic cover over the rollers, a sleek metal shield to keep large debris out. There is no hidden mechanical genius here. In fact, these fenders are often the first thing experienced users remove as they trap dough and make the machine notoriously difficult to clean. This piece isn't lost to history. It's intentionally discarded by those who choose practical utility over superficial design. Unearthed from the dusty shelves of a thrift store, this curious leather artifact whispers of a forgotten time. The stitching is tight, the leather worn smooth by hands long since past. It presents itself as a box, but it is a silent one, offering no hinge, no seam, no hidden latch. Its most puzzling feature is the curved, beveled base. It's built like a cradle, yet it sits stubbornly flat, refusing to rock. What secrets was this sealed container designed to protect? What you are holding is not a box, but a beautiful piece of history from the writer's desk, an antique ink blotter. Before quick-drying ink and ballpoint pens, writing was a more deliberate art. After signing a document with a fountain pen, you would gently rock this device over the wet signature. The curved base was lined with absorbent blotting paper, which would soak up any excess ink, preventing smears and smudges. This elegant tool became obsolete with the rise of the ballpoint pen after World War II, a casualty of convenience that replaced a ritual of patience with instant gratification. These were found scattered in the dark crevice between a bed and a nightstand in an otherwise pristine rental room. Dozens of them. They are thin, white slivers, just under 1 inch long and a few millimeters thick, each with a slight, uniform curve. They feel almost organic, like tiny bleached ribs shed from some unknown creature. No paint is peeling, no electronics are broken, just these cryptic pieces, hiding where no one thinks to look. What strange device, or organism, leaves behind a trail like this? This is not evidence of a mystery, but a ghost from interior designs of the past. You have found the shed bristles from a dried flower arrangement. For decades, bouquets of dried grasses, reeds, and flowers were a staple of home decor. Their weakness, however, was their fragility. As they aged, they became brittle, and the slightest vibration would cause these tiny bristles to break off and scatter, inevitably collecting in hard-to-clean spaces. The rise of durable artificial plants and a preference for fresh flowers made these dusty arrangements fall out of fashion, but their tiny, forgotten pieces often remain, a faint echo of a bygone era. It was a simple act, reaching into a coat pocket, but what my fingers brushed against was cold, deliberate, and entirely out of place. This small, mechanical object looks like a stray computer chip, yet it feels too solid, too self-contained. There are no markings, no brand, nothing to give away its origin. It carries the unnerving weight of a secret, something that wasn't lost, but placed. What is this piece of clandestine technology, and how did it find its way here? Be careful. What you have discovered is not a lost component, but an AirTag clone, a modern personal tracking device. Its mechanism is both simple and insidious. It silently broadcasts a low-energy Bluetooth signal, which is picked up by a vast network of nearby smartphones that report its exact location back to its owner. These devices are designed to be small, cheap, and easily hidden. Unlike the tools of the past built for creation, this object was built for surveillance. They have become chillingly common, not because they were replaced, but because technology made them accessible, turning a tool for finding lost keys into an instrument for secret observation. Unearthed from the dusty corner of a shed, this bundle of cold-plated steel objects feels like a forgotten promise. Each piece is about 15 centimeters long, identical in its industrial design, with a strange flared end that hints at a powerful purpose. They were found deliberately cable-tied together, as if waiting for a job that was planned but never started. The zinc galvanized coating was meant to protect them from the elements. But what were they meant to protect? What forgotten construction project were these identical steel anchors designed for? What you have discovered are concrete set-in post anchors, the unsung heroes of sturdy construction. This is a classic example of hot-dipped zinc galvanized steel built to last a lifetime. The mechanism was brutally simple and effective. The flared end was pushed into wet concrete, and once the foundation cured, it created an immovable anchor point. A fence post or support beam could then be bolted securely to the top. While still used by professionals, these wet-set anchors have become less common in do-it-yourself projects, replaced by post-installation brackets that offer more room for error. This bundle is a relic from an era of precise, permanent building methods. Found lurking in the dusty shadows of a basement ceiling, we have this peculiar fixture. It's a stark white cylinder, capped with an almost elegant T-handle made of brass that seems to belong to another time. There are no visible wires, no switch, no hum of electricity. It's a complete mystery. It begs to be turned or pulled, yet it remains completely inert, a silent sentinel watching from above. What forgotten purpose could this strange device possibly serve? What you are looking at is not a device meant for the basement at all, but the hidden machinery of a recessed can light in the ceiling of the room above. That white cylinder is the housing, and the brass T-handle is a fastener for the junction box, allowing an electrician to access the wiring. For decades, these deep, robust metal cans were the gold standard for creating modern, unobtrusive lighting. Their reign ended with the arrival of ultra-thin LED wafer lights, which require no bulky housing at all, making this discovery a view into the hidden and now obsolete infrastructure of a late 20th century home. Mounted high on the ceiling, this plastic disc watches over the room in silence. It's a clean, unassuming design, yet it feels out of place in a modern home. There isn't just one. They're found in pairs, creating a network of cryptic sentinels in multiple rooms. There are no visible buttons, no brand names, no clues to their function, just a blank, circular face integrated into the architecture itself, a ghost of some past technology. What forgotten system were these silent sentinels a part of? What you have discovered is a vintage ceiling speaker, a relic from the golden age of whole-house audio systems. Popular from the 1960s through the 1980s, these were wired directly into the walls, connected to a central stereo or intercom hub, broadcasting music or voices throughout the home. It was the height of domestic luxury, but their reign was ended by the wireless revolution. The rise of portable Bluetooth speakers, smart assistants, and personal headphones made these built-in systems seem restrictive and obsolete, a testament to a time before our audio became as mobile as we are. Standing just over 1.5 feet tall, this peculiar brass stand was discovered in the back of a closet, a silent sentinel from another time. It has a surprising heft for its size, with graceful curves that suggest it was meant to be displayed, not hidden. The polished brass gleams under the light, hinting at a life of purpose before it was relegated to the shadows. It looks almost like a piece of abstract art or a valet for some forgotten accessory. What was the intended purpose of this elegant, mysterious object? This is not art, but a forgotten piece of high-end domestic technology. You are looking at an attachment rack for a vintage vacuum-made central vacuum system. Popular in mid-century homes, these systems were the height of modern convenience, and this ornate caddy was designed to hold all the various nozzles, brushes, and wands in one stylish, accessible place. Its heavy brass construction was a mark of quality, built to last a lifetime. Today, these beautiful stands have vanished, replaced by cheap plastic holders and a modern desire to keep cleaning tools hidden away, a casualty of an era that valued disposable convenience over durable, elegant design. Pulled from the dusty corner of a barn, this object sings a silent, metallic song. It's a shallow, galvanized steel dish, roughly the size of a musician's cymbal, mounted on a heavy wire stand. The whole assembly is fixed at a strange 45-degree angle, and the disc spins freely on a well-worn bearing, a ghost of endless motion. It's too heavy for a piece of art, too specific for a simple tool. This wasn't made by accident. It was engineered for a single, forgotten purpose. What secret was this spinning steel sentinel designed to keep? What you have discovered is a harrow disc, a key component from one of the most important tools in agricultural history. This is the blade of a disc harrow, an implement pulled behind a tractor. Arranged in long rows called gangs, these angled, rotating discs slice through the earth, turning soil and chopping up crop residue with brutal efficiency. They were first patented in the late 1800s and revolutionized farming. While massive disc harrows are still used today, this single standalone piece is likely a relic from a smaller walk-behind cultivator, a design made obsolete by the gasoline-powered rototillers that now dominate modern gardening. It crawls across the landscape like a mechanical ghost, a behemoth so vast it consumes 2 full lanes of asphalt. Escorted by a silent procession of police and highway patrol, this colossal white object is cradled in a skeletal steel frame, pulled and pushed by a team of semi-trucks. It's larger than a house, heavier than a locomotive, and its journey halts all other traffic, a silent titan on a secret mission. This isn't just cargo, it's a spectacle of immense power. What monstrous machine requires this level of security and engineering to simply move from one place to another? What you are witnessing is the slow, deliberate transport of a high-voltage electrical transformer, one of the unsung titans of the modern power grid. This device is the linchpin of our electrical infrastructure, stepping voltage up for efficient long-distance travel and then down again for local use. Its incredible weight comes from massive copper windings and thousands of gallons of mineral oil used for cooling and insulation. You so rarely see one on the move because they are built to operate for decades, silently humming away in remote substations. Their transportation is a monumental feat of planning, a rare and expensive event that reveals the sheer scale of the hidden machinery that powers our world. Imagine descending into the cool, quiet darkness of a basement, a place where sunlight never reaches. But then you see it. A perfect circle of light, about 1 foot in diameter, glowing on the ceiling with the brilliance of a midday sun. There are no wires, no humming sounds, and a check of the home's exterior reveals no windows or ports that could explain this phenomenon. It's an eerie, almost supernatural glow that seems to defy the very laws of physics. What kind of black magic could bring daylight into the deepest corner of a house? What you have discovered is a brilliantly simple piece of modern engineering known as a solar tube, or a tubular daylighting device. On the roof directly above, a small clear dome captures sunlight and funnels it into a highly reflective tube. This light pipe acts like a continuous mirror, channeling the daylight down through the floors of the house with minimal loss of intensity. These became popular in the 1990s as an energy-efficient way to illuminate windowless spaces. While incredibly effective, they are often overlooked in favor of cheaper standard electrical fixtures, making them a rare and surprising find, a clever solution that harnesses the sun itself instead of a switch on the wall. A cryptic package arrives from across the world, containing only this: a small, stark white object, barely an inch tall. It hangs from a simple claw clasp, a ghost of a keychain. A faint seam runs around its middle, a phantom lid that refuses to yield its secrets no matter how you pry. It is unnervingly silent when shaken, no rattle, no clue as to what lies within. What purpose could this baffling little object possibly serve? What you are holding is a deceptively clever modern invention, a wedding ring holder keychain. The genius is in its locking mechanism. You must first remove the carabiner clasp from the top, which then allows the cap to slide off, revealing a central post. This post is designed to safely hold a precious ring when you can't wear it, at the gym, at work, or any place you fear it might get damaged. It's not a relic from the past, but a solution to a modern problem, a tiny personal vault whose simple security is its greatest secret. Pulled from the damp, dark earth of a forgotten crawlspace, this strange object feels heavier than it looks, a solid 15 pounds of pure mystery. Its surface, a dull copper or bronze, encases a core of rough concrete. There are no markings, no hinges, no clues to its origin, just a dense, silent block, measuring roughly 6 by 8 by 6 inches. Why would someone cast concrete into a metal shell and leave it hidden beneath a house? What was this strange block designed to test? What you have discovered is a highly specialized tool from the world of industrial science, a non-destructive testing, or NDT, calibration block. Technicians use these blocks to fine-tune sensitive equipment that finds hidden flaws in structures without damaging them. This specific block, with its metal casing and concrete core, was likely used to calibrate ultrasonic or radiographic devices, teaching them to see through different material densities. These objects are common on job sites, but are rarely seen by the public. Its presence in a crawlspace is the real mystery, a relic of a past inspection, a tool for seeing the invisible, left behind and lost to time. Pulled from the forgotten depths of a 1960s oven drawer, this curious artifact unfolds like a triptych of polished metal. The 3 panels are joined by simple, sturdy hinges, allowing it to stand on its own or fold completely flat for storage. It's too thin to be a baking sheet and too awkward to be a serving tray. It feels like a piece of a larger machine, a shield from some unknown kitchen hazard. What forgotten culinary battle was this strange, foldable barrier designed to fight? What you have discovered is a vintage splatter guard, a clever piece of mid-century kitchen armor. Before the days of deep fryers and ubiquitous mesh screens, frying meat on the stovetop was a messy affair. You would simply stand this guard on its edge, forming a 3-sided wall around your pan to contain the popping grease. It was a durable, reusable solution that protected countertops and walls. Its decline began with the rise of cheaper, disposable alternatives and modern cookware with higher sides, causing this simple, elegant tool to be quietly retired, a victim of convenience in the modern kitchen. Found clamped to a massive power pole, humming silently in the shadow of a substation, is this cryptic metal card. It's a riddle of punched holes and stamped numbers, both right side up and inverted, a silent sentinel guarding the grid. 2 precise holes have been made, marking a specific point in a matrix of digits, a permanent mark against the passage of time. What secret message does this industrial punch card hold for those who can read its code? This isn't a complex cipher, but a remarkably durable record, a utility pole dating tag. You are looking at the pole's birth certificate stamped in metal. Linemen use a punch to permanently mark the year the pole was installed, treated, or inspected. In this case, the 1 and 8 tell us it was serviced in 2018. For decades, this rugged, weatherproof system was the backbone of infrastructure management, requiring no batteries, no scanners, just a simple tool. Now, these tangible records are being replaced by barcodes and digital databases, their physical history fading into an invisible cloud of data. A relic from an era when a record was meant to withstand the storm. Pulled from the forgotten shelves of a thrift store, this set of heavy brass fixtures whispers tales of a bygone era. One piece, clearly meant for a wall, curves out like an ornate sconce, ending in 2 perfect rings. The other, a curious hoop that looks like a magnifying glass stripped of its lens, nests perfectly between them. It spins freely, but not quite a full rotation, stopped by the mount itself. Some might guess it's an elaborate curtain holder, but the sheer weight and strange design suggest a more rugged purpose. What secrets were once held by this polished brass hardware? What you are holding is a classic set of footrail supports, fixtures from an old-world bar or saloon. The sconce mounts to the face of the bar, and that mysterious hoop is designed to cradle a long brass rail, giving patrons a place to comfortably rest their feet. The slight spin allows for easy installation and helps the rail navigate the corners of a long bar top. While footrails still exist, this style, heavy, ornate, and cast from solid brass, is a relic of a time when even the smallest details of a pub were built with permanence and character in mind. They've been replaced by simpler, more modern designs, a quiet trade of craftsmanship for cost. This delicate chain of glass beads, stretching nearly 4 feet long, feels like a relic from another time. Tiny blue, white, and orange seeds are meticulously woven into an intricate daisy pattern, a testament to patient craftsmanship. But the mystery lies at its ends, multiple loose, beaded loops that don't clasp or cinch. It's too long for a traditional necklace, yet feels too fragile to be a belt. It drapes over the hands like a forgotten piece of regalia. What purpose did these puzzling loops serve? What you are holding is a beautiful example of a scarf-style necklace. The design intentionally omits a traditional clasp. It's meant to be worn, draped, and looped around the neck, just like a lightweight, decorative scarf. The beaded loops at the end are not functional fasteners, but elegant tassels, adding weight and a finishing touch to the design. This free-flowing, bohemian style was a specific fashion trend that has since faded, replaced by more minimalist or classic jewelry, leaving these intricate pieces as charming artifacts of a very recent, but bygone, era of style. Pulled from the shadowy depths of a forgotten workshop, this imposing black box is a true relic of the Cold War. Its heavy-duty case is covered in cryptic Cyrillic labels, words like amplitude and frequency hinting at some scientific purpose. The oversized knobs feel built for a gloved hand in a stark concrete laboratory somewhere deep in the Soviet Union. It's a machine built not for elegance, but for pure, uncompromising function. What secrets was this Soviet-era device designed to unlock? What you are holding is a piece of specialized Soviet engineering, an MGI-1 pulse generator. This machine was the heart of advanced laboratories, designed to create precise electrical pulses for tasks like geophysical testing or calibrating industrial electronics. The controls allowed a scientist to meticulously set the pulse duration, repetition frequency, and amplitude, sending controlled signals through its input and output ports. With the fall of the Soviet Union and the rise of compact digital signal processors, these heavy analog behemoths became obsolete. They were replaced by devices a fraction of the size, yet infinitely more powerful, leaving this Cold War titan as a testament to an era of brute force electronics. Pulled from the cluttered shelf of a local thrift store, this small porcelain vessel feels like a relic from a forgotten time. It has the weight and shape of a tiny mug, but the strange markings printed on its side suggest a purpose far more specific than sipping tea. It's a beautifully simple object, yet its function is a complete mystery. Was this some kind of pharmacist's tool or a child's toy from a bygone era? What secret did this ceramic cup hold? What you have discovered is a brilliant piece of kitchen science, a water measuring cup for a vintage egg cooker, likely from the 1940s. This wasn't a timer that counted seconds. It used a clever principle of physics. The lines on the side indicated the exact amount of water needed for soft, medium, or hard-boiled eggs. You'd pour the water into the cooker's base, and once it all boiled away into steam, the heating element would automatically shut off, leaving you with perfectly cooked eggs every time. This elegant system was eventually replaced by modern plastic cookers with loud buzzers and digital timers, making this durable, silent ceramic tool an obsolete artifact of a quieter kitchen. Embedded in the sun-baked concrete of a Central Florida driveway, a strange metallic emblem has surfaced. Its weathered surface is scarred by time and tires, but a cryptic symbol remains, a perfect diamond framing what appears to be the letters FF, or FC. It feels like a marker from a forgotten guild, a permanent seal whose purpose has been completely erased by the years. What forgotten company left this indelible mark behind? This is a galvanized iron pipe cap, a forgotten piece of industrial history made by the Stanley Flag Company. The logo is actually an interlocking SF for Stanley Flag, a mark of quality for pipe fittings throughout the early to mid-20th century. Its job was simple but crucial: to permanently seal the end of a water or gas line, protecting the system with unwavering strength. These heavy iron caps vanished from common use when the construction industry pivoted to cheaper, lighter materials like PVC, replacing century-long durability with modern cost efficiency. They appear without a sound, scattered like synthetic confetti across the otherwise pristine floor of a swimming pool. These strange, plastic-like splinters, in all manner of sizes, feel brittle to the touch, a clear sign of prolonged exposure to the elements. It suggests a slow, creeping decay. Some familiar object is silently disintegrating, leaving behind a trail of synthetic clues. What piece of poolside equipment is quietly falling apart? What you have discovered is a common, yet often overlooked, sign of decay. These are the shed bristles from an old pool cleaning brush. The hard plastic, designed for scrubbing, is not invincible. Constant exposure to the sun's ultraviolet rays and the pool's treatment chemicals causes the material to become brittle. With each sweeping motion against the concrete or liner, the weakened bristles snap off and settle at the bottom. It's a quiet reminder that even our most trusted maintenance tools eventually surrender to time and the elements. Perched atop a 10-foot pole, this silent observer watches the city's pulse. It's a two-part device, a pair of unassuming metallic boxes measuring roughly 5 by 5 inches, with wires snaking away into the pole itself. Installed by the city, it stares down at the endless river of traffic, its purpose a complete mystery. There are no logos, no warnings, just a silent, electronic gaze. Is this some new form of surveillance, a secret experiment, or just a forgotten piece of urban hardware? What you have discovered is a modern traffic counter, a silent sentinel that has replaced a much more familiar piece of roadside history. For decades, counting cars meant laying down black pneumatic rubber tubes across the road. You might remember the distinct thump-thump as your tires rolled over them, sending a puff of air to a mechanical counter chained to a pole. But those tubes were notoriously unreliable. They would get loose, skewing the data. This new system, likely using radar or microwave beams, is a ghost in comparison, silent, precise, and maintenance-free. It's a perfect example of how the familiar physical world is quietly being replaced by invisible technology. It emerged from the fabric of a mattress, a thin black filament, sharp and unnervingly out of place. Found not once but twice, this tiny intruder seems to be working its way out from a hidden place. It's stiff, like a piece of industrial wire, almost surgical in its appearance. It raises an unsettling question. Is this some kind of forgotten manufacturing component, or something more personal? What is this strange object, and why does it keep appearing in the one place we're meant to feel safe? What you have discovered is almost certainly a lost bristle from a vacuum cleaner's beater brush. The answer, thankfully, is far less sinister than it appears. These stiff nylon bristles are designed to spin at thousands of revolutions per minute, agitating fabric to dislodge deep-seated dust and debris. With wear and tear, they can snap off and become deeply embedded in the very surfaces they are meant to clean. It's a tiny, forgotten casualty of modern cleaning technology, a testament to the hidden power of a machine you use every day. What was the weirdest object for you? Let me know in the comments and share this to test your friends. If you love uncovering these mysteries, hit like and subscribe. Your support helps us find more curious explorers like you. Stay curious.